Hello friends, welcome to Dreamweaver Crocheting with Love. This is the part 2 of our baby frock tutorial. In part 1, we had learned how to work this yoke, and in part 2, I'll be teaching you how to make the skirt part of this frock. Now in case if you haven't gone through the part 1 of this tutorial, then I shall give the link of the same in the description box below. So you can just go through it and get to know how this yoke is worked out. In the part 1, I had mentioned that the last row, that is the 14th row of our yoke, should be having the double crochets in multiple of 3. Now in this case I had about 124 double crochets, so I just worked out 2 more double crochets in the last stitch, so that the total number of double crochets is 126, and that is a multiple of 3. So now we can start with the skirt part of this frock. For working the skirt, I'll be using this 2.5 mm crochet hook. Now join this pink colored yarn into the same space where we had cut the yarn. Work one chain. The skirt pattern is basically repeat of 2 rows. So for the first row, work a V-stitch into the same stitch, that is 1 double crochet followed by 2 chains and 1 more double crochet, all into the same stitch. So here I have done the V-stitch. Now work 2 more chains. Skip the next 2 stitches and again work 1 V-stitch into the third stitch. And work 2 more chains and skip the next 2 stitches. So this is the pattern sequence of this round. To work a V-stitch followed by 2 chains, skip the next 2 stitches and into the third stitch again work a V-stitch followed by 2 chains. So just continue with this pattern sequence till the end of the round. So after working the last V-stitch, I have worked 2 chains, skip the last 2 stitches and worked a slip stitch on top of the first double crochet worked. So that finishes our round 1, and for the round 1 the total number of V-stitches that we have are 42. Now for the second round, slip stitch inside the chain 2 space of the V-stitch, work 1 chain and into the chain 2 space work a V-stitch, that is a double crochet followed by 2 chains and 1 double crochet into the same space. So here I have done with the V-stitch, work 2 chains, and in the first row we had done 2 chains between each of the V-stitches. So going inside the chain 2 space, work 1 single crochet followed by 2 chains. Again moving to the chain 2 space of the next V-stitch, work a V-stitch. Followed by 2 chains and into the chain 2 space work 1 single crochet followed by 2 chains. So this is the pattern sequence of this round. Into the chain 2 space of each of the V-stitches work a V-stitch followed by 2 chains, and into the chain 2 space between the V-stitches work 1 single crochet followed by 2 chains. So just continue with this pattern sequence till the end of the round. So after working the last single crochet, I have worked 2 chains and slip stitch on top of the first double crochet worked. So that finishes our second round. Now for the third round, slip stitch inside the chain 2 space of the V-stitch, work 1 chain and inside the chain 2 space work a V-stitch. So I have done the V-stitch. Now work 2 chains, skip the single crochet we had done in the previous round and move to the chain 2 space of the next V-stitch and work a V-stitch. followed by 2 chains. So this is a sequence of this round, working V-stitch into each of the chain 2 spaces of the V-stitch of previous round, followed by 2 chains, skip the single crochets worked in the previous round, again work a V-stitch into the chain 2 space of next V-stitch, followed by 2 chains. So just continue with this pattern sequence till the end of the round. Now from here on, the skirt pattern is a repeat sequence of 2 rows, that is, we'll be repeating row 2 and row 3 for the desired length of our skirt. So for this skirt, I'll be working about 25 rows. So just continue repeating row 2 and row 3 till you reach row 25. So once I'm done with my 25th row, I shall get back to you. So this is how our frock looks after working the skirt portion. Now for the skirt portion, in total from the top till the bottom, I'll work 25 rows, and the 25th row is the row of V stitches. And after working the 25th row, I've cut my yarn and we'll be doing the shell stitch edging for our skirt using the mustard yellow color yarn. Now join this yarn into the chain 2 space of V stitch. Work 1 chain and into the same space work 6 double crochets. So we'll be doing a shell of 6 double crochets. So here I have done with the 6 double crochets. Now work 1 chain and into the chain 2 space between the 2 V stitches work 1 single crochet, followed by 1 chain. Again move into the chain 2 space of V stitch, work 6 double crochets. Followed by 1 chain. So this is the pattern sequence of this round. Into each of the chain 2 space of the V stitch, work 6 double crochet followed by 1 chain, and into the chain 2 space between the V stitch, work 1 single crochet followed by 1 chain. So just continue with this pattern sequence till the end of the round. Now for the 26th row of the skirt, I have done a shell stitch edging for the last row, and that finishes our skirt part. Moreover, I have also done a popcorn flower and sewed it on top of the yoke. So that finishes our baby frock tutorial for a 2 to 3 year old baby. So that's all for today's tutorial. I hope you found this tutorial really very useful as well as interesting too. In case of any queries, please let me know through comments. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.